Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you grow, it never feels like enough? You reach a goal, and almost immediately, your mind begins searching for another one. You get stronger, more disciplined, more successful. You learn to be kind, even on hard days. And yet, the feeling remains, whispering, "Not yet, just a little more. Then you'll finally be enough." Maybe you've heard that voice for so long that it no longer sounds like a voice. It sounds like the truth. And every time you arrive, the finish line moves again. And you begin running without ever asking who placed that finish line there to begin with. Maybe no one ever meant to make you feel this way. Maybe it happened little by little. A comment, a comparison, a disappointment, a moment you never forgot. A moment when you quietly decided you'd have to earn the rest. And once that decision was made, you never really questioned it again. You just kept proving it over and over, in small ways, in big ones. A good grade, a promotion, a relationship that finally seemed to work. Each one felt, for a moment, like the proof you'd been waiting for. And each time, the proof expired faster than you expected. So, you adapted. You learned to improve, to perform, to become. Nobody taught you this on purpose. You simply noticed what got you love and what got you silence. And slowly, without ever deciding to, you built a version of yourself designed to be easier to love. And somewhere along the way, you forgot what it felt like to simply exist without trying to deserve your place. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every single day. Not for a week, not for a month, but for years. Eventually, you would stop noticing its weight. Not because it became lighter, but because your body accepted it as normal. Sometimes the belief, "I'm not enough," becomes exactly that. So familiar that you stop asking whether it's even true. You carry it everywhere, into conversations, into relationships, into your work, into your dreams. It quietly changes the way you see yourself. You begin apologizing before you've done anything wrong. You celebrate your achievements for only a moment before convincing yourself they weren't enough. You compare yourself without even realizing you're doing it. And somewhere deep inside, there's always one more version of you that seems more worthy than the one who's here today. It's strange how a mirror can show you the exact same face every day, and somehow you still manage to see something different. Not the face itself, but the story you've decided to read into it. But what if, just for a moment, you questioned that story? Not to force yourself to think positively, not to pretend everything is perfect, just to become curious. What if that voice isn't telling the truth? What if it's repeating something you've heard so many times that it began to sound like your own? Not every thought deserves to become a belief, and not every feeling is a fact. You don't have to fix this tonight. You don't have to become someone new by tomorrow morning. You're allowed to simply set the backpack down for a while. Not because you've earned the rest, but because you're tired, and that's reason enough. Maybe being enough was never something you had to become. Maybe it was something you were quietly told you weren't. And maybe it's still there, underneath all that proving, waiting for you to stop long enough to notice it. Sometimes the loudest voice inside your mind is just the oldest one.